Hello, and welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. I'm Paula Mandela, and this is Soul Light Connection, and we want you to know you're in the right place at the right time. Right, Ann?
That's right, just where you are meant to be. And we want you to sing along with us because we know and you know your soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Yeah, your soul is welcome. Our soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. Right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul, oh my soul. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Put your hands together. My soul is welcome here. Tell 'em about it, Lorene. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
Good morning. Yes, and your souls indeed are welcome here. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good to see you today.
Good morning, Reverend James. It's good to see you, and it's good to see all of you. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is sacred, and all that is holy, and then the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all those who worship in temples, mosques, churches, stone temples, and of course the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. If you're with us for the very first time today, on site or online, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every single one of us is here by divine appointment. And we're so excited to be together in person today. And we also are excited when you silence your electronic devices here in the sanctuary. Please make sure you wear your mask properly, and please make sure you continue to wear your mask out in the courtyard. And also, please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Now that we have that clearing, let's go directly to that presence, this power, this love that is beyond words, but it is our very life in being, the Spirit of the living God. We rest in that presence now. And as we rest in that presence, we are assured it is always supporting us, sustaining us, lifting us, rightly directing us. For we recognize that this presence is always looking for the highest and best for us. And as we make this presence the activity of our awareness by releasing any blockages or hindrances of this presence being expressed as our life, healings happen, upliftment happens, good happens in our life as well as our world. We do our part to lift ourselves up right where we are by connecting with this presence. And as we do, we begin to radiate from the depth of our being all the qualities of this presence in our life and in our world, so that all those who cross our path, they are touched by this presence as well, and they remember the truth of who and what they are. So we're grateful and thankful as we go forth manifesting and magnifying the all good that we call the presence of God as our life. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, our purpose here at Spiritual Life Center is an important one. And I invite you as it comes up just to affirm our mission together. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we, to the best of our ability, live out and embody these 5 basic unity and universal principles everywhere and everything that we do. They are: God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action.
And speaking of action, prayer is the most important action that we can take. And it is the cornerstone of Unity and Spiritual Life Center. Our prayer chaplains hold sacred space for the entire community in their deep and special prayer life. If you feel called or even slightly interested in what it might be like or what would be involved in being a prayer chaplain, you can attend an information session today at 1 o'clock on Zoom with our coordinator, Monica Hart. Now, being a chaplain helps SLC. It helps people that you pray with. You can pray with them on Sundays. You may also make prayer calls to them. But being a prayer chaplain also changes you as well, and it is one of the most satisfying and heart-opening things that I think a person can do. So if you are interested in becoming a prayer chaplain, the training will be happening fairly soon. And in fact, there's a component of it that James is going to talk about right now.
Yes. Speaking of prayer, I think there was a guru that was asked one time, what is the most important practice we can engage in spiritually? And he said, to pray and meditate. And that's maybe the most important practice we can engage in, because no matter where we are, we can engage in this connection with presence. So if you want to know more about prayer, particularly affirmative prayer, which is our unique approach to prayer in our philosophy, Monica Hart, our chaplain coordinator, is going to offer a 4-week Zoom class on affirmative prayer that's going to begin on February the 7th. This class is based upon the book How to Pray Without Talking to God. So if somebody ever has an allergic reaction to the word God, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. It's an introduction to affirmative prayer, and you'll begin to develop a deeper spiritual practice by reforming and really reconstituting the words of traditional prayers, and then cultivating a habit of daily prayer as well as meditation, which will take your prayer life to an entirely different level. So sign up for that. It will be transformative, I know. And for those who want to know about, the affirmative prayer, which is really a very powerful approach and our unique contribution to prayer in our spiritual work. So, and you can sign up online or you can go to the hub.
Absolutely.
And we have, Kim, who has been our board of trustees, has stepped aside to take on some other activities and some responsibilities. So Sally Sion has stepped in as our board president, and she has some words to share with you.
I do have
and I don't know what they are, but I know they're going to be good.
Okay, I do have words. I have some words. Okay, first of all, because I've just stepped into this position, on your calendars, I know that you had the general membership meeting scheduled for the 30th, which was next week, Sunday the 30th. I can't do that yet, okay? Please have compassion for me when I'm not capable of doing everything right now. So I'm putting it off where the board agreed we would delay it 1 week. We still want to meet with you. We want to have your input. We want to talk with you, give you information, get your questions. So please move it on your calendar to the 6th of February, 1 week away. And we will have the in-house meeting, but it will be a hybrid meeting, so you can do it over Zoom. That's one of the things I haven't figured out yet, is how we can receive your questions when we're having a hybrid meeting. So I'll work on it, okay? I promise you I'll do that. because it takes a lot to step into Kim McLaughlin's big shoes. Okay, so give me a little, be patient with me. Okay. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the Notes and Jokes concert that's coming up Friday, February 18th. Now, I know this is weeks away, right? You don't have to pay attention. But let me tell you, it's going to be, there are 11 musicians that are going to play music in this program. You might know one of them, who's Ann Roach. You might have heard of her. Okay, but we also have a nationally known Indian flautist who's going to be on the program. These are superb musicians. And we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be interested in this and will be accessing this or coming who are outside of our community. So here's the deal. Uncle Sam wants you to get your ticket today. We're only going to seat 100 people here because of our COVID concerns. If we do this concert again next year, maybe we'll rent Arco Arena so that we have more space for people. But I'm giving you the insider information, okay? If you do not get your ticket today or tomorrow, I'm afraid they're all going to be sold out, and you're going to have to watch this virtually. Okay, now, that's all fine. However, I know that this event is going to be so professional and profound that you're going to have the opportunity, particularly if you are present here, to have one of those experiences. I know everybody in this room has had an experience where you're looking at the sunrise, or you're looking at your own child right after they were born or something, and you have this experience of profound awe. Now, I do truly believe that you're going to have the opportunity to have that experience at this concert. So what I want you to know is, if you're going to give yourself the opportunity to do that here with our loving community, get your ticket now. Don't think about this and figure that in 2 weeks you'll be able to. You'll still be able to get online and watch it. It'll be wonderful. That'll be great. But you're not going to get to have the experience of being here present with all of these loving souls. When we started our earlier service this morning, we still didn't have it. We didn't have the link worked out. Thanks to Elaine, our loving person who is our Energizer Bunny in this community. She was working on this even as, we were having the first service. So people in the first service could not get on their phones during James's sermon and get their ticket. You have that opportunity to do that, okay? Just kind of do it covertly, okay? But honestly, my recommendation is that you get your ticket today, and you're not going to be sorry, I guarantee you. Peace and love, all my loving friends.
You do not want to miss this concert.
Not at all. I got my ticket, by the way. It was got me so fired up, I got it between services. Okay, what else we got going on?
We have Reverend Janee, who is our youth ed director, and she has her monthly update about the kiddos.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's really great to be with you all today. We ended our year last year by going over the overview of each of the 12 powers with our youth. And as we begin the new year, we're going to start looking at each one of those powers in depth. And we're starting with the power of imagination. So over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at how we use our power of imagination to create our lives, whether we're conscious of it or not. And we'll be looking at all the aspects of the power of imagination. We'll be looking at how we can use our imagination to fuel our dreams, or what kind of sometimes happens in this environment is we use our power of imagination to fuel our worry and our fear. So we'll be taking a look at that and how we bring ourselves back into this place of God to use that power for the highest good for each of our lives. So I hope that you'll come and join us for that. We have our kids coming back slowly, and just know we're here with open arms to welcome you back. We put our YOU Fun Fridays on hold through the month of January, and we'll be starting those back up in February. And so for those of you with teens, you'll be getting notice of those as they're scheduled. Our YOU Leadership Rally is coming up in February, and it's normally a rally like we always have where we spend a whole weekend. But because of everything that's going on right now, we decided to condense it into a one-day rally with our, our brothers and sisters at Unity of Vacaville. So we'll be taking our kids to Vacaville for the day. And the leadership rally is really about our youth becoming leaders. It's the rally that they learn to lead prayer and meditation and how to put on the spring and fall rallies. So I'm just so grateful that our kids get to participate in that, and we'll be doing that the first Saturday of February on the 5th. And so if you've got a teen out there and you'd like to join us, please let us know. I really, really, really appreciate our Unity movement and how much they support our youth. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate each and every one of you and all the ways you support our youth. You really do make this possible. So thank you. We love you. Have a wonderful month.
Thank you, Rev. Appreciate it.
You know, James, between the classes that are coming up and what Reverend Janee is doing, it looks like we're going to have a lot of the year talking about 12 powers in prayer. I think that's where we're going.
Apparently, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay,
Yeah.
where are we going now?
Yeah, we're going to remember that the way to find out all of the things that are happening at SLC, both here on campus and, of course, online, is to go, well, if you're here, go out to the courtyard and look at the bulletin board, and then go over to the hub and get the down low on everything, and, of course, everything that's going on at SLC. Anything you ever wanted to know about SLC is at our website, slcworld.org.
And at this time, I invite any of the board members that are present and chaplains that may be present this morning, simply please stand. And we appreciate your presence this morning. And the chaplain, or Monica is our primary chaplain this morning. She won't be able to pray with you after the service, so I think Reverend Deborah and I will be available if anybody wants to pray right after the service. But they hold the high consciousness for our community, and we thank Veronica and all of our chaplains of our community that bring their prayer consciousness to us. And our board members do the very important work of bringing their consciousness and their work and their skills and their talents to keep us moving forward as a community, and they're available to answer you any prayers, any questions that you may have as well about our community. So we thank them for their service and all they bring to Spiritual Life Center.
And we love to greet our newcomers. And so in a moment, we will ask you to raise your hand. But there are so many ways to become connected at SLC that, well, we could talk about it forever, but then we wouldn't get on with the service, would we?
No.
So we have a card that you can fill out. Now, you can access that card online and fill it out and then click submit. Or if you're here in the sanctuary, you can fill that card out physically, because we will give it to you, take it out to the welcome table, and they will give you a gift and a very special welcome.
And is anyone here for the very first time today? If so, you get to raise your hand. If not, we may just all be familiar with one another on some level or other. And with that, I just invite you to turn to a friend or a neighbor and say, it's great to see you, great to see your smiling eyes, and you are marvelous. Glad you are here, and you can greet them in a way that feels comfortable to you.
And as we move more deeply into our service and prepare for meditation, let's embody the words of our vision statement together. Spiritual Lives Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created, in the light, love, and the glory. In the light, the love, and the glory of me. I am love and as God created, in the light, love, and the glory. In the light, the love, and the glory of me. I am as God created, in the light, love, and the glory. In the love, and the glory of me. I am as God created, in the glory light, in the love, glory of me. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory.
As we move into this time of meditation, allow the vibration of that beautiful chant to move into the depths of your soul. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in God's glory. I am. I am. Feel how your entire body responds to this truth. I am. Breathe into that. Deep into your belly. Breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your breath to find its natural rhythm. Feel your body relaxing, your mind softening with each breath. Breathing in and breathing out. As we relax into our breathing, we notice that we don't even breathe ourselves. We are so loved that God is breathing us in every moment. You are held and supported by your Creator, your God, in this very moment, in every moment. God is the aliveness within you, the beauty in you, and in all of creation. Jesus reminded us that aliveness, that beauty, that kingdom of heaven is within us. Presence. And what we focus on expands. So as we practice the presence, just like we are right now, our experience of presence, our experience of God expands. Our devotion is to this presence, this love within us, with a willingness to be touched at depth by our Creator, our God. We slow down. We stop. We take time in the silence to commune with the God of our being. We practice. In every face I see the face of God. Presence meeting presence. God meeting God. With our focus on presence, on God, all that we do is guided by love. We know who we are and what we are to do here. To love. To bring this aliveness, this beauty into all that we do and all that we are. Feel this essence of God that you are, breathing you, beating your heart. You are already whole, already complete. whole and complete in God. As we take a moment in the silence, feel the God of your being rising up to meet you in the sweet love of this moment. As we go forth, we open our hearts and our minds and our very soul to you. Awaken us, God. Awaken us to all that we are, all that you are. Holy God, move in me. Amen.
You want to know me, you want to see my face. I do not age with time, I do not fit into a space. I transcend the capacity of your eyes. So who am I? It is the question for the moment, it is the question for all time. I am you. And you are mine. I am the
I don't know about you, I could just rest in those words that were just sung by Ann. You know, that first line of that song asked, "Do you want to know me?" He's talking about this presence that is beyond words. And as we listen to that song, I believe they were absolutely in sync as to why we may come to a service such as this or watch it online. It's not merely to get more information. Heck, if you want more information, Google it. It's not here to try to change our belief system, so to speak. We clearly don't come here, particularly in a place like Spiritual Life Center, to tell you the rules of conduct or doctrines or dogmas or anything like that. Even if we did, no one here would listen. No, I believe that we come here to bathe in an atmosphere, in an environment that is rich in the awareness of the presence and the power and the love of something that is beyond words, but we know it's love itself. It is the potential of God itself. As the song says, this presence does not age. It does not fit in any space. It is even beyond the human eyes to see or to understand. We are here to be the full expression of it nonetheless. In other words, our mission, should we choose to accept it, and I think at some point we always will accept it, either by choice or we'll be pushed into it. Our mission is to embrace a mission that is beyond our capacity to humanly see, so that our life is lived as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for evolution, an opportunity for spiritual transformation, so that we don't even recognize ourselves month after month. Now, for some folks, that might be a relief. You know, you may know what I'm talking about. Some folks, every year, they may try to be the same person, and they run out and try to change the mirror rather than to change or transform themselves. But if we embrace a large mission, I believe that you and I will grow from God's glory to greater glory, as it says. And we'll begin to appreciate that the Spirit of the living God is limitless. So today's topic is don't limit God. Now, in reality, you know, we can't limit something that's limitless. We can't limit this presence. We only limit the amount of God that is expressed through and as us. As I thought about that, I was reading something from the Hebrew Bible in Genesis, the 13th chapter, and the 14th and 15th verse. And it said that the Lord said unto Abram, if you know that story, that Lot was separated from him. And the consciousness of God came through Abram and said, lift up thine eyes and look from the place thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. And he said that for all the land that you see, I will give it to you, and I will seed you forever. You know, when we read those words, the Lord is nothing more than the law of life, the law of our being. It's not a person per se. And that conscience is speaking to and saying, basically, go beyond your limited perception. Go beyond the possibilities that you can see and believe in at this moment. And if you do, that's what you will experience. If you go beyond your limited belief in that moment, something more can happen. I remember years ago, I was at Unity Village, and, I used to jog regularly with some of my friends, and, this day I think I was jogging by myself, and, they had a lot of hills there, so I was jogging, and I got exhausted, and I was tired, and my mind was saying, well, you can't jog anymore, you need to stop, rest, bend over, because, you've just reached your limit. And then at that moment, a dog out of nowhere came running after me, and for some reason, I was able to run faster than I ever had run up until that point. At that moment, I went beyond my limited belief. In that moment, my belief was changed. I was able to do more than I thought I could. Understand that, as it says in Luke, that it's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And kingdom is not a place, it's the ever-expanding good. It means expansion. But often we limit God's presence in our life by having a limited concept of ourselves. I've come over time to believe that what stops us from going to the extra experiences that we think we can have is not anything. It's not really the plan that we have or maybe the people that are around us. It's really the concept or our self-image. Because we can never go beyond the rim of our own self-concept. We can never go beyond the rim of our own self-image. And I recall when I was in high school, I had a counselor that said, you know, I invite you to go ahead and, you know, take this speech class and learn how to speak in front of people. And I said, well, I can't do that. I'm not going to do it. And he convinced me that I should, so eventually I did. And I realized that I was putting a limitation on myself. You know, we limit God by having a limited mindset. And that limited mindset really shows up in a lot of different ways. One of them is negative biases or pessimistic thoughts, as a psychologist would say. Sometimes you may run into individuals that, you know, you tell them a plan, an idea, and, you know, before you can even get into the details of it, they say, well, let me tell you why this ain't going to work. And they haven't even heard the plan yet. But they have a negative bias or a negative expectation for nearly everything. It is a consciousness. And if we want to take the limit off God, we have to curb our own negative biases, our own pessimistic thought processes, our own minds. Because this is, you know, they talk about, you know, the virus or of a pandemic or anything like that. But this is a mind virus that can never go away unless we begin to excavate it from our minds. Now, our expectations, even negative ones, are meant to help us navigate, you know, sometimes a complicated world. You know, it helps us simplify, you know, a wider range of outcomes to any situation. And those negative expectations can help us sometimes anticipate and avoid danger. And when used properly, it can do that. But usually those beliefs are not up to date. They have nothing to do with what's really going on right now. And so we use that to stop us from moving forward. The bias to sense danger sometimes inaccurately skews how we see a situation ahead of us. And sometimes chronic pessimistic thoughts really just put us in a position where we're more vulnerable to actually experiencing that unpleasant or that negative outcome. And so sometimes individuals are so caught up in that negative bias, they forget that is not who they are. That's just a thought that they have. It's just a cyclical thought, a pattern that they've been caught up into. And I speak for myself, I've been caught up in that from time to time. But we must realize that is not our real identity as spiritual beings. And to the degree we think that it is, we are limiting the power of God. We're limiting the force, as I like to call it. So to take the limit off God operating in our life, we must become aware of what's passing through our consciousness so that we can curb those negative biases and redirect our mindset upward or northward, southward, eastward, as it says in the words of that scripture from Genesis. And when we do, we no longer put a limit on this presence in our life. Now, there's a practical tip I think we can engage in, and that is to set the intention the first thing in the morning. At least I've been trying to do this regularly, is to say I'm going to monitor my thoughts throughout the course of the day. Just watch, what am I thinking about? Maybe have an alarm on your watch that says, boom, watch, what are you thinking? So I can catch, the negative bias mode that I may be in. And then we can begin to set a positive expectation to transcend that, go beyond that. And we do that by talking to ourselves with positive expectancy. Sometimes I know some friends who are really great athletes, and they did well in college, and a couple of folks I happen to know that did in the pros even. And I realized that, when a baseball player steps up to the plate, They're always going to tell themselves they're going to knock it out of the park. They're going to get a hit. They're going to get on base. They may not get on base most of the time. In fact, most of the time they don't. But that's what they tell themselves. But I take that idea, we can do the same in our own life. We can say, I'm going to knock out this day and have a great day. I'm going to knock out this situation and transform it into something magnificent. I'm going to knock it out of the park. I'm going to have a magnificent day. So we practice positive self-talk to take that limit off the presence of God. But on top of that, we often limit the largesse of this God presence or this infinite potential of the presence by reactive visions of our life. Often people are living their life as a reaction to a circumstance or a situation. Something's happened. Something's happened in their lives. Somebody did something to them. Something said something to them. And their whole life, they're then living to prove them wrong. You know, I've done this. I'll show them. I'll get them back. I'll do this, I'll do that. And their vision more is a reaction to a circumstance. It's a reaction to a situation which inhibits our soul, our real self, our spiritual self from releasing its life energy. So you and I are to become aware that we are standing at the center of this limitless universe, this limited potential. And in this moment, there is something within you and me that has never been born, has never been dead. As that song said, that as Ann was singing, it has no age with it. It does not age with time. It has nothing to do with our parents or our ancestors or circumstances or any situations at all. It has something to do with the eternal, this presence breaking into time as our life here and now. And so you and I are to release this limited reactive visions that sometimes we catch up into and accept the vision of God that is seeking to express through us now. We get that when we lowly listen. We no longer listen to the outside. That means that very often we have a vision of how our life should be. And oftentimes we receive messages from the society outside of us, from our parents, from our teachers, from other people. And they become ingrained in us, and we're not even conscious of them anymore. You know, many people have been caught up in the consumer-driven world that often runs us. So the visions that they have about life don't come from this unlimited presence we call God. It comes from that limited societal viewpoint that sometimes has gone mad. And we end up obsessing over stuff that does not matter. And when we do, we distance ourselves from our real self, our authentic self, our soul, so the reactive vision is taking over us. But our real self says, yeah, be a conduit of love. You know, because we can say anything about God, but I think we can agree on one thing, no matter what, that we can say that God, this presence, this force, this something beyond words, is love itself. And then we come from life by being of service from that perspective. And any vision that comes from God, whether it's a business vision or a relationship vision or a program or a project, is to be a conduit to deliver love and spiritual ideas in our life and on our very planet. And then everything else is added to us. That's why it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, all of his righteousness, and everything else begins to be added. So we do not limit God by a limited mindset or by having reactive visions. Instead, we travel outside the orbit of our habitual thinking and begin to see a whole new world that is available to us no matter what is going on around us. And it'll help us move any limitation on this presence when we do that. Now, when we understand that, we understand this scriptural reference that said, that allegedly comes from the master teacher Jesus when he said, lo. Actually, I believe he said yo. He said yo. But every time he said yo or lo, he said, give me your attention. I got something important to tell you. And he said, lo, I will be with you. And he wasn't talking about him. He's talking about this presence. It'll be with you even unto the end of the world. But we have to hear this. Because in order to take the limit off God, we have to understand that life as we know it is about to end, and not because of anything in the outside or some pandemic or anything like that. Our life as we know it is about to change forever. I think we're going through a great paradigm shift in our world. And you may be going through that in your own individual life. So we're not going to be the same persons. And the things that are going on in our life are not going to be operating on the same level. And we cannot take the limit off God and stay the same as individuals. We cannot take the limit off God and live the same narrow perception that we have been in the past. So we hear those words, oh, I will be with you even until the end of the world. We're not talking about the end of the physical existence of the planet. That's not what that means. We're talking about the world that has been created by our own little narrow perceptions and sometimes our faulty notions about what life is all about. That world has to come to an end. I think it's reaching that point sometimes in our society today. And it's not anyone's fault that the world has been limited. It may be laden with fears, it may be laden with doubt, sometimes laden with worry, and we take it on. Things happen to people when they're young, and they're influenced by these experiences in their life. You know, I often talk about when I was young, I was abandoned by my mother, and that had an impact on my own color of how I saw the world and create my own limitations and self-image concepts. There are all kinds of things that have happened, and people then make choices. We all make choices, and these choices are often made from that limited viewpoint, which is really fear, doubt, and worry. And then they build these little worlds, and they hope these little worlds never change. And oftentimes we build these little worlds, and they become fortresses to protect ourselves from the loss, from the lack, from the limitations. And then we try to pray from a miracle from that vantage point. Can happen. Now, the miracle is nothing more than an instant demonstration of truth. It's not being some favor coming from outside of us. The miracle is always happening. We want to get in tune with what is already happening. Well, to get with that miracle, that little world that we may have caught ourselves in, it has to be destroyed. It has to fall apart. So we say, fear not, fear not. Because when we do, that little world will end and the world may be collapse that we've had. You know, we've got to be like the little chicken in the egg that says, man, this life is getting a little crowded in this egg. I got to get out. It looks scary out here, but we know we got to break through. And then we realize that's where the potential in all of God is. So to take the limit off God and experience the so-called miraculous, we must abandon ourselves to the power within us. And we will fully understand that statement, oh, that which is within you is far more powerful than that which is in the world. And to such a degree that our world is shattered beyond recognition that happens sometimes, that we know that behind that there is something unfolding that is a greater good. This is why we pray. You know, it means that when you pray, you realize that prayer is an integrated process. And you get more of that if you take Monica's course on affirmative prayer. But ultimately, what we're doing, we're communing with what's real. We're communing with what's changeless. We're communing with what's omniactive, that's all-knowing, that's everywhere present. That's what we're doing. Now, I've been at this place early in my spiritual life and still growing. We may be at a particular level of unfoldment where we're maybe standing over here and we're praying to a God over there, trying to change something right here, when we realize that everything we need is already here. Of course, we start off maybe praying like that, but we call that superstition once we realize, what it's all about. But it's okay, it's a start. And as a human race, we're growing out of the superstitious way of being into awakened awareness. And that's why when they asked the Buddha, who are you? He said, man, I'm awake. That's what he got, I'm awake. If we read the Bible, and I've been threatening to do this Bible course, I guess I'm going to have to do it eventually, because folks ask me from time to time. But we realize that the Bible is nothing more than an evolution of consciousness. That's what it is. You know, we move from the superstitious Old Testament portion of the Bible where there's a God there being jealous and pissed off and upset, mad at you, changing up on you, be one way one day, another way the next. People doing things, trying to influence God, which would be crazy. If everybody's trying to influence this presence, we would have a chaotic world. That's maybe why we have a chaotic world now, because we're all trying to do different things. But then we begin to move to the New Testament where Jesus is saying that God is love. It's all summed up there. It's an unfoldment of human consciousness. So we are here today with the awareness that our active, affirmative prayer life is a process in which we become integrated into this ultimate, changeless, limitless, loving reality, and becoming conscious and aware and communing with that which is. And we no longer try to beseech or try to influence the presence of God. Rather, we're allowing ourselves to be influenced by this presence. And there is no limitation with this presence because God knows nothing about any limitation. We do. But we can take that limit off the presence of God through a change of thought. What we call ourselves practical spirituality, I always have to leave at least one other practical thought, practice that we can use to take the limit off of God in our life. And that is we can stop looking into the future for our good. You know, we say that our ego, you know, we've heard this phrase that ego means edging God out. And oftentimes the ego asks, what's next? But the heart asks, what's now? God is now. So we want to run out. We don't want to run out and look for what's going to happen next necessarily in life. Not to say we don't have visions, but we want to be fully present here and now. And we look around at the here and now and we find something, anything, any small thing to appreciate. And then we begin to appreciate it, be grateful for it. And then what happens is vibrationally we become in tune with gratitude. We become in tune with harmony. We become in tune with appreciation. We become in tune with thanksgiving. And this expands our perception so we can live with a spiritual vision. And we're preparing ourselves for the instant demonstration of that which is always going on. God, the unlimited good. And then we realize that there's only one life, and that is the life of God. And it is the life of health. It is the life of everything about us. And when we appreciate anything in our life, anything that's working, we have a vibrational match with it. And then we expand our perception to that spiritual vision. And something wonderful begins to happen. Something wonderful begins to happen. We begin to take the limits off. We take the limits off. We take the limits off. And when we take the limits off of God, God takes the limits off of us. And we become unlimited. Peace and blessings to you. Well, next week I'll be back again. I'm affirming, envisioning, I'm having that positive expectation that we're going to talk about get carried away. Allow ourselves to get carried away by this presence that is beyond words. And so Reverend Deborah's going to do the meditation. We have some music and some fellowship, I'm sure. At this time, I'd like to address those who may be watching online, that you can have an opportunity now to support Spiritual Life Center to help spread this consciousness of possibilities to all those on the planet in some way, shape, or form. This is what we want to do, but we do our part the best we can. And you give to Spiritual Life Center your gift, your love offering, by texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, and give by other ways, including by mail. And For those who are present, we just invite you to take your gift or your love offering, symbolically raise it to the heavens, and know that when you give, you're in that flow. And if you've given online or EFT, that flow is working as we sit here today. And with that awareness and with that principle in our consciousness, let's affirm our offertory blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
You will make the change. You'll begin today. You will turn around and see the world another way. You'll stand up tall and move with grace, and you'll see yourself in every face, in every face. You'll open up your eyes like a sunrise. Your heart will fly, and you'll realize what a gift it is to be alive, oh, to be alive. Shine on. Oh, shine on. Oh, on and on. You will feel the heat, so soft, so sweet. You will listen long and well before you humbly speak. You'll walk that mile, be the first to smile, to reach out your hand and to reconcile. And in the end, you'll make amends. Be a true friend, strong enough to bend. Be grateful when you start again. Oh, when you start again, shine on. Shine on.
We shine on in own unique ways. And as we shine, we express gratitude and appreciation for all that's good in our life and in our world. And we bless the tithes and the gifts and the offerings that have been given online and in presence automatically to support this community, to provide a vessel for others to come for their own spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment. We also bless those who left prayers in the prayer box, recognizing and knowing that the answer to their prayer is already there in the Spirit of the living God. We know that those prayers will go on to support those who have made those prayers. They will go on to Silent Unity for an additional 30 days of prayer consciousness as we integrate with the only thing that there is that's changeless, and that is the presence. And in that presence is healing, upliftment, transformation, solutions. We affirm this knowing there's the truth that liberates us and sets us free. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, let us join together as we affirm our prayer for protection and know this is the truth. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. And we deepen that truth as we sing our peace song. Peace and blessings.